G'day everyone, it's Deb Carr here, and I'm going to talk to you today about some of the afterlife experiences I've received from my family members that have passed on and are now living in another realm, wherever that might be. So I'll start with my brother Gary, who died 22 years ago. Gary committed suicide, and I have made another video where I'm tearing up on that one, but it was a long time ago, and it did take me a long time to come to terms with Gary's death. But I finally did, and now I like to explain to other people that are grieving on why I'm so adamant that we don't die. So the first story I'll tell you is my brother Gary. So my brother Gary died, and a few days after he died, I was in bed bawling my eyes out because I was so distraught. And as I said in my other video, I heard his voice. He said to me, "Deb, I'm okay." I heard his voice right here, right outside my ear, but here. And I was like, I just heard my brother speak, and he told me he's okay. And then I had a vision of him, and in this vision, it was very clear. And even all these years after, 22 years, I can still see it. So I'm in the vision too, and I'm leaning over crying on a bench, a stone bench. And then my brother just came up to me wearing a jumper that had black and white diamonds on it. He had scruffy hair and he had black jeans, and he put his arm around me and he winked at me like he used to do this kind of wink thing. And he then told me that everything I believe in life after death is true, and he's really, really happy. And I had a whole lot of other sort of things happen with him during my life as well. But I will tell you one story that gave me real evidence that Gary was somewhere else. Was about a number of years after he died, I had a psychic reading and with a guy called Michael Wheeler, and it was on the phone. It was just when Michael was starting out his brand, Psychic Oranges. I don't know if he still does do that. I must look that up one day. But anyway, he did this phone reading for me. I think it was in 2007. And he was telling me a whole lot of stuff, and I'm going, how does he know that, you know? And he said to me, after he was talking about my future and my life, he said, your brother is here with me. And he said he's playing a guitar. Well, yeah, my brother used to strum the guitar. He loved his guitar. He said he's with the dog that started with the letter B. And I went, oh yeah, that's my mum's dog, Blocker. And then he said, well, he's actually with the other two dogs with the letter B as well. And I said, oh, well, Mum had Butch and Bully Boy. So they're all dogs. So he said, yeah, he's with them. And he then said, oh, your brother wants you to know he loves the tattoo. He loves the tattoo of the feather. And I was like, whoa. 3 weeks prior to that reading, I got a tattoo on my lower back of a feather in memorial of my brother Gary. Nobody knew about it except me and the tattoo artist. So to this day, that blows me away. And then he said something. He said, oh, you're going to get a present in the mail from your brother. And then I thought, oh yeah, man, this is, yeah, right. But a couple of weeks later, something appeared out of the blue in the mail, and it was a present. And I opened it up, and I'll just sort of step out of this for a minute, because I used to find feathers, I still do, but coloured feathers and feathers after Gary died. They was beautiful feathers. I've got them. I don't know if you can see at the back there. There's some of them. They're just some. So this parcel arrived, and it had a poem with it. It was this white feather in a frame with a beautiful gold bow around it, and a poem which started off, "An angel is looking over you." And I was like, wow. And what happened was, I used to do it. I've been online for a long time, blogging and whatever, a long time. And I wrote a story about Gary's death, and a lady who had lost her little girl. She was only 5. This little girl had a bit of a intellectual disability, and she was on a a slippery slide, and she had a little handbag, and somehow it got stuck, and the little girl unfortunately passed away through this tragic accident. And her mother reached out to me, and so we were sort of talking. So that was this little girl's mum, who had found me on the internet all those years ago, and she said, I was in the shop and I was just compelled to buy this for you. And she sent it to me out of the blue. So I've sort of thought, this is just crazy, right? And then a lot of other things have happened, like I've had a lot of out-of-body experiences myself, and I think a near-death experience through anaesthetic, but I won't talk about that today. I want to talk about my mother now, when my mum died. So when mum died, my eldest daughter and myself, we were driving back to my parents' property just the day she died, and we're both in the car, and we were going up the dirt road because mum and dad lived in the country. And as we were both going there, Emma and I felt mum's presence sitting in the back of the car. We felt it together. We both got like shivers up our back, and we looked at each other and went, right, that was Nan. Okay, cool. And so when Dad died about just 15 months ago. When he died, on the day he died, I live by the beach, and it was a really horrible day. It was all cold, very windy, and I said to my brother, I'm going to go and have some time alone. I just need to go to the beach. So I was the only person on the beach, walking up this beach. I think I must have walked about 3 Ks up, and there were no birds because it was really windy, and there was no no shells. So there was nothing on the beach. It was quite funny. It was weird. And whenever I walk the beach and I need a sign from God, I often get a beautiful shell sent to me. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get up, and don't laugh at me in my shorts. You can tell people on the internet. I need to get this for you to show you. So as I'm walking along the beach, all of a sudden these 2 birds came flying, big birds. I can't even identify them, some sort of water bird, but they came out of nowhere and they flew sort of right just down a little bit from me and right over, and then they circled, and I watched them circle back, and they just disappeared. And I thought to myself, oh, that's Mum and Dad. And then just where they circled, a shell, a beautiful shell, a very unusual shell for this particular beach, washed up to my feet, this one. And I just cried because I knew it was a sign from them. And another shell that I found, this is a story that I thought I saw my father at the beach, and I was watching this guy and I thought, my goodness, this looks like Dad. And as I walked past him, there was all this seaweed, and just sitting on top of the seaweed was this one. So that's kind of, to me, that's a sign, you know. Some people might not think so, but you just don't find these kind of shells on Tuncurry Beach, let me tell you. So that was that. And then to finish, so I didn't, about, I don't know, maybe just after Dad's funeral, so about a week after he died, I then had this dream. Well, I wasn't really a dream. I was kind of really awake, and it was early in the morning, and in this kind of state, my dad was on a tent, like, you know, those striped tents they have on beaches. We don't have many of those in Australia, not where I live anyway, but on this beach where I find my shells, I could see this tent, and this is where I knew that this was Dad's depart. He was definitely leaving this realm, or his soul was going. So I was running in this state to get to that tent on the beach, and all of a sudden everything just turned into the purest white At first I thought it was snow, but it was just like, wow, I was running in this whiteness, this light. And then I sort of felt my father go into it. And as I was running still to try and grab him, this being was sitting, there were beings all sort of like on rocks up way above me. And one in particular was just looking at me and smiling, like beaming smile. I can't tell you the love that was coming from this being, which was human, but looked not quite human, like a bit different. And he or it, I couldn't really, probably not the right word, but I couldn't tell the gender. I sort of felt it was masculine, beaming at me. And as Dad's going, I'm beaming up at this being myself. And I then came sort of wide awake and I had this smile on my face. It was just incredible. And I felt that I had been with my dad as he decided that it was time to go and leave me now. It was time to get on with wherever he's gone. So yeah, these are just a few of the spiritual experiences I've had in my life, but I've never forgotten any of them. They're as clear in my mind, even all those years back when Gary died, they're as clear as a bell to me, like they're there. So anyway, that's my story. And one of the reasons that I'm so into that there's more to this life and that we need to just be aware of that. And because we're all going to go somewhere, we're all going to die. So when we die, we want to probably make sure that we left behind a good trail of kindness and good things to other people. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.